This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. The app is simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports app today and use code SPOTIFY and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, we have talked in the past about serial killing duos, but we've never covered a case of a serial killing duo that are siblings. In the late 70s and early 80s, 2 brothers terrorized Toledo, Ohio. But just wait until the end when you find out where they are now. This is the case of Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband, Russ, true crime stories and he reacts to them.
What's up, folks? It's your boy, Russ, a.k.a. It's still cold here and I'm moving, a.k.a. Jess thinks she's tougher than me, a.k.a. I'm drinking Trader Joe beer today.
It is still cold here. We had like one day of nice weather with some sun.
Dude.
But this is killing me.
I gotta go, son.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'm done with the cold.
You're also a giant wimp with cold. Like you're one of the wimpiest I've ever seen.
I'm going to Australia, dog. It's 100.
They have winters there.
Not right now. It's 100. Miss Mutu told me.
They have winters though. It gets cold there. It just gets cold opposite of the year. You're not like getting away from the cold going there.
Well, maybe I could go there in the summer and go there in the winter, here in the summer.
Like a snowbird.
When I figure out how to have money to do that.
Or you could just go to Florida.
I'm ready.
I know, you're a wimp. And
I just want to be happy.
I am tougher than you. Our dentist told me.
So listen, this is so ridiculous. We have dentist appointments. For one, Jess is afraid of dentists.
I was afraid of dentists and Russ made me go.
So
not because my teeth are nasty.
My homie opened up a spot and he's probably listening. So we went over there, and go ahead, tell him what you did in the chair.
So I was getting the lidocaine shots because I needed a deep cleaning because I am afraid of dentists. I haven't been in a while, so I did a deep cleaning, and I needed lidocaine shots. And the dentist said, "Oh wow, you're not even flinching." And I go, "I know, I can take it." And then I go, "Am I tougher than Russ?" And he said, "Yes."
Who asked that? But first of all. Who asked that? Like, why are we always in competition? Because if we were in competition, I'd obviously be the winner because I don't lose. But for the record, I didn't get any lidocaine shots that day. So he was just trying to make you feel happy.
I know I'm tougher than you. I already knew that. And I can handle the lidocaine shots no problem because if you've ever watched any of my TikTok videos before, you may realize that my forehead doesn't move. Why doesn't it move, you may ask? Because I get shots of Botox in my face. So if I can handle shots of Botox, I can definitely handle a couple lidocaine shots in my mouth. And it just made me feel so good. I actually smiled when he said that I was tougher than you.
And it's funny. You know, I was happy when you were getting Botox. I was like, oh, at least I won't know she's mad. But it stopped your forehead from moving, but not your mouth. So.
And what was the third one? Oh, you're drinking beer from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I got the Boatswain double IPA.
You almost couldn't pronounce it. Boatswain.
Boatswain. I didn't pronounce it. This joint's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like 10% or something.
8.4.
8.4%. So we'll see how you are by the end of the pod. Speaking of TikTok, I put up a TikTok yesterday because right now we are about 6 weeks into the Murdaugh trial, which has been crazy ride.
Which, if you're kind of new, we did an episode on here called It's Murdaugh, I think.
Yeah, all the way back in 2020 or 2021. It's been
a long time. In my Rakim voice.
We were one of the first podcasts to cover it. There were only like 2 podcasts at the time that were like ongoing podcasts specifically covering their case and that family. But we were one of the first to cover the Murdaugh murders all the way back then. And I've been updating you guys along the way. Now we're in the trial. He actually testified in his own defense, which is, you know, I was shocked because you're typically advised not to do that, to testify in your own defense. But he is a lawyer. He is...
I didn't know that.
Yes, you did, Russ. That was the main part of the whole entire... The whole reason he has so much power is because him and his family are lawyers. And you just need to go re-listen to the episode because you probably forgot most of the details.
Yeah, I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Or
exactly.
This morning. Or did we eat dinner yet? I don't even know.
No.
But I'm hungry.
So he was, you know, testifying in his own defense. He claims that he's a family man. He didn't do this. I did this whole summary video on TikTok and I posted on Instagram. So I'm anxiously awaiting the results of this trial. But I have to say, after watching it, the prosecution is dropping the ball, bro. Like, I really feel like, and a lot of you guys who are listening might agree with me, this might be a hung jury. Because the defense, if you're just going out, right, you're watching this trial like 2 teams competing.
Yeah.
The defense is killing it. They really are.
So the prosecutors of the Knicks, they're always losing.
Well, the prosecutors...
And I'm a huge Knicks fan, but I can understand that.
The problem is the prosecutors came in and just said, like, he definitely killed both of them, right? But they were shot with 2 different guns. Their bodies were far apart from each other. So for the prosecution to step in and say he killed both of them without no help or no other, I don't know. To me, it just seemed like that was a lot to convince a jury of. So the defense has really done a decent job at poking holes in the prosecution's theory. But you know, the prosecutors do have some damning evidence. So we'll see how it turns out. But right now, I'm thinking it could be a hung jury. I really am.
So if
we'll
see. A hung jury, that means they'll just do it again.
It'll be a mistrial because they can't decide.
And that mean a mistrial means they'll do it again.
Yeah, they could do it again.
Is he in jail or is he out on like bail?
No, I think he's in jail.
Murdaugh is in jail?
Yeah, he's in jail. Like, he was in jail waiting his trial.
Oh, I thought since like... What I do remember is his family was well connected. So I thought, like, if your family's well connected, they'll let you out.
Yeah, but he has a ton of, like, financial crimes that he's being, you know, charged with. He's done a lot of shit with money. Like, he's not just some guy randomly accused of murder. Like, he has a lot of stuff that he's wrapped up in that's illegal. So, yeah, he's been awaiting trial in jail. We'll see where this goes. Mark my words, probably going to be a hung jury. Let's see.
And if you want to know what happened, go to the thing we did.
Yeah, it's called It's Murdaugh.
But Murdaugh spelled like Robert Murdoch?
Huh? No, they pronounce it Murdaugh, even though it's spelled Murdaugh.
I can't be fucking with people that don't use that like add letters in and take letters out. Like you don't even have the letters in.
Remember, his name is spelled Alex, but they pronounce it Alec.
Yeah, that's like some boozy shit. Like when you go to the party in New York City on the Upper East Side, and they just all call each other darling. Like, hello, darling. I hate the darlings.
The darlings. Well, all right. You have the patron shout outs, so your
Hi,
time to
folks.
shine. Last time you were really embarrassed because you said you didn't read them well. So let's see how well you do this time.
Yeah,
The pressure is on.
After I listened last time, I was like, Jesus Christ, I stumbled through that one.
Yeah.
Like a 5-year-old that just started hooked on phonics. So these are the people that joined this week. Kiara, Margie, Dawn, Kim, Maria, Natalia, Caitlin, India, January, Jeanette, Stacy and Addison, Victoria, Jeannie, Lena, Jennifer, Sam, Jen and Luke, Miranda, Plum Bob's mom. All right. Jocelyn. Why'd you name your kid Plum Bob? Leslie, Jacqueline, Tanya, Chloe, and Ashlyn. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Appreciate you. Jess will sing cheers to you every time.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining. If you're interested in bonus content, head over there. And
I forgot review of the week.
What a jerk.
Buy me some time and talk.
Oh, man. So this is another Jess is better than Russ moment. Jess is more prepared.
Okay, I got it. So this is
Okay.
the review of the week. If y'all ain't listening to this pod, ... Sometimes that means I can't read the rest of it and you have to like check on a computer. But it's 5 stars from Pun DMC. She's a Patreon. Well, I'm saying she, maybe not.
Maybe, yeah. They are a Patreon.
Apple did not post my last review for some reason. Apple's trying to sabotage us, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to summarize, Jess, a.k.a. Lil Weezy, is a great storyteller. Russ, the profiler, intuition skills are spot on. Russ's lack of knowledge about kids is astonishing. Y'all's banter is hilarious. Keep on keeping on. Does everyone just know about children?
Pretty much everyone knows about kids, Russ.
What I always knew about children is I always wanted to avoid them because they ask you for stuff because they can't get their own stuff and they have no money and they make a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
And they get hungry and can't even feed themselves.
Yeah.
And they shit their pants even after they can walk, which blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, I still am astonished, just like she is, or they are, that you didn't know that.
Because I've seen kids sit in a corner and shit their pants. You know you're shitting, you little dummy.
Well, but that's what kids do. They have to learn how to go on the potty.
I can't believe I was a kid.
Yeah, you were a kid. You shit your pants.
In my mind...
You walked around with shit-filled pants.
In my mind, the first day I could walk, the first place I went was to the toilet.
No, it was not.
And literally,
we need to call Debbie right now and ask her.
And I said I was tired of this shit, and I went to the toilet.
Guaranteed you did it.
I wasn't having doodle mushed in my butt.
You definitely had doo-doo mushed in your butt, 1,000%. You were just as big of a dummy
You
as
need
every other human being on this earth that had poop in their butt.
You need a new kid once they do that. It's broken.
Okay. So, I gave the patrons a chance to choose the next few episodes. Like sometimes we do polls on Patreon and you can pick between 3 different types of episodes. And then they pick their favorite. We do like majority rules. So I gave them this chance to pick our next few episodes. And they wanted a serial killer case.
Always. True crime people always want it.
Well, I have one that is not super well known, but it should be. This is a case of not one serial killer, but a serial killing pair, which always just like really creeps me out. We've covered a couple serial killing duos in the past, and I will never understand how both people can be involved and be so evil, and they can watch the other person commit horrendous, despicable acts and like totally co-sign it.
Shit floats to the top and then it meets each other.
It's so crazy. These 2 men not only raped and murdered together, but they have way more in common than that. They were actually brothers. I have never heard of serial killing siblings before, but this case shows yet again, no matter how horrendous you think humans can actually be, they can actually be 10 times worse than we think.
You know what I've realized?
What?
In my life, no matter how dumb I think someone is, I always meet someone dumber, and I'm like, this is getting ridiculous, especially at work.
Well, this is the case of serial killing brothers Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Nathaniel and Anthony Cook grew up in Toledo, Ohio in the 70s and 80s. Anthony Cook was the older brother. He was born March 9th, 1949. Nathaniel, the younger one, was born October 26th, 1958. So they were a few years apart, like 9 years apart. They were originally from Mobile, Alabama. From everything I've read, the boys were born into extreme poverty. They had 7 other siblings in their household. And a few years after Nathaniel was born, the family relocated to Toledo, Ohio, in a predominantly black side of town. Shortly after relocating, their father left, leaving their mother alone to raise 9 children.
Dude, even if you have a lot of money and you're one person, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Supporting 9 people is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I can't imagine 9 people coming out of one person.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids to birth. That's for sure.
You're basically pregnant your whole adult life.
True. Well, they were very poor, and because of how racially segregated Toledo was at the time, their schools in their neighborhood were incredibly poor as well. As Anthony became a teenager, he started getting involved with selling drugs. He eventually dropped out of school and was in and out of prison for most of his teen years.
That's messed up because when you're so poor, a quick way to make a buck sometimes is sell drugs. Like sometimes if you had another opportunity, you would.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get hired as a youngin'. And I know a lot of people that fell under that, like just poor, trying to
feed yourself.
I got to eat, man.
No, 100%.
It isn't all about like trying to buy a Mercedes Benz and new shit and trying to be fly. Some people are just trying to survive, and they would thrive under other conditions where if they were offered opportunities.
However, Russell, you grew up in that environment along people who were selling drugs, and you didn't choose to do it. And neither did his brother Nathaniel.
Yeah, but there was some times when I was hungry.
Yes.
And other people weren't.
Well, his brother Nathaniel, on the other hand, he didn't choose to sell drugs and all that stuff either. He was a studious kid, and he did really well in school. He loved to read. He didn't do any drugs. He didn't sell any drugs, and was generally just a really good kid. He grew up, he got his CDL, and he became a truck driver, and he made decent money in his late teens and early 20s.
You can't, I don't think you get a CDL until you're 21, unless it was different back then, maybe.
Well, I don't know. This was back in the day. He became a truck driver. This is back in the 70s.
It's not an easy job, You spend a lot of hours on the road, but you do what you got to do.
In December of 1973, in the middle of a severe snowstorm, a few girls in their early 20s were stuck on the side of the road after their car had broken down. 24-year-old Anthony pulled up and offered to help them with their car troubles. After looking under the hood and telling the girls he couldn't fix the issue, he told them, "Listen, if you need me to, I can drive one of you into town, go to a payphone, and you guys can call somebody for help." It was Vicky Small's car, so she decided...
No relation to Biggie?
No relation to Biggie.
There's no last name Smalls.
Well, Biggie Small's last name was not Smalls.
Yeah, but all right.
His name was Christopher Wallace.
Well, how about you killing me, Smalls?
Well, it was Vicky Small's car, so she decided she would be the one to go and make the call while her friends stayed behind. Vicky, only 22, got in the car with Anthony. He drove down the street and then turned off. She was sexually assaulted, shot, and her body was dumped in a nearby park. Her body was discovered the next day, but despite having eyewitnesses, her friends, who were there when Anthony showed up, he was never caught for this crime. And Vicky Small's murder went cold. A year later, in 1974, Anthony was sent to prison for armed robbery. He spent the next 5 years in prison for this conviction and was released in 1979. By this time, his brother Nathaniel was 21 years old. and the two men decided to murder together.
What kind of conversation is that?
I know.
And what do you get out of it besides just the thrill of murdering? Now, sometimes I understand when people commit crimes for money because you need money to live.
For money, like robbing someone.
Yeah.
Not murdering
But sometimes
someone.
the murder they ended up in a robbery, you can end up murdering someone.
Yeah.
And it's wrong, but I could see where the motive comes from.
Yeah.
But just to kill someone to kill them, that's like some real beyond evil shit.
Well, on May 14th, 1980, Sandra Prigorski and Tommy Gordon were hanging out in their car. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. Suddenly, the passenger window smashes in with Nathaniel on one side and Anthony on the other side. They grab the couple and force them at gunpoint into the back seat of their car. They then abduct them and take them to a remote location in Lucas County, Ohio. After parking in an abandoned field, Tommy Gordon jumped out of the car and started running, leaving Sandra behind. But Nathaniel shot Tommy, knocking him to the ground, then walked up to him and shot him 3 more times, killing him. Anthony grabbed Sandra, pulled her out of the car, and raped her. He then stabbed her multiple times with an ice pick.
Wow. They were going to kill him anyway, even if he ran or not.
Yeah. The 2 men jumped into the car and drove off, leaving the couple's bodies in the field. But Sandra, she wasn't dead. She was alive.
Today, son.
She survived and managed to stand up and slowly walk miles to a home nearby. The people called police and she was rushed to the hospital. She needed multiple surgeries, but she made sure to give a description of the 2 men. Young, black, one with a beard, one without, and one of the men's name was Tony. They had a sketch artist come draw a composite sketch, but unfortunately, police had nothing else to go on. So the case went cold. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's viahemp.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. On January 17th, 1981, the brothers abducted a young girl named Connie Thompson after following her while she was walking home. They drove her to a remote location. Both men raped her and then stabbed her 43 times. She was found weeks later by 2 teenage boys who were sledding. By this time, her body was decomposing, and the police had no leads or witnesses.
How long after did they find her?
Weeks.
Oh, because I was wondering how long it takes a body to decompose.
It starts decomposing pretty much right away.
But I would think it probably decompose less if it's cold because they were sledding. Like
it was cold, yeah. It was the middle of January.
Kind of like you put meat in the freezer and it lasts longer.
Well, yeah, it was cold, but it still decomposed.
Oh.
The body was decomposing and police had no leads or witnesses, so her case went cold. A little over a week later, 18-year-old Cheryl Fawn was walking to a grocery store where her fiancé worked behind the deli counter to meet up with him after his shift. The couple had a 2-year-old son and they had just recently moved to the area. They didn't have a ton of money, so they didn't have a car. But Cheryl would walk to the grocery store, which was only a few blocks away from their home, to meet her boyfriend Bud after his shift.
This Bud's for you.
As Cheryl and Bud walked the couple blocks back to their apartment, it's a little dark and they see a figure across the street a little ways ahead of them. As they approached, they could see a young man wearing an army jacket with a ski mask on. Cheryl immediately tensed up and gave Bud a weird look. But he said, "Don't worry, you're with me. I won't let anything happen to you."
And hopefully Bud got a gun.
He doesn't. As the couple came parallel with the man, he began to cross the street and he approached them and pulled out a gun.
That's when you're fucked.
The couple's thinking it's a robbery and they start pulling their wallet out and Bud takes off his watch and they hand him everything. They say, "Here, just take everything, please. You can go. Take all of our stuff." The man took the items and put them in his pocket, but he didn't leave. Instead, he pulled out 2 ski masks from the coat pocket and ordered them both to put one on.
Nah.
He said, "If you don't put it on, I'm going to shoot you."
You got to shoot me right here, dog. Just like Rashid, like Poppy from Rashid. You want to shoot me right here? That's okay. I live right here.
Well, the couple complied, and Anthony led them down the sidewalk and turned down the next alleyway. He brought them to an abandoned garage, opened the door, and told them to get inside. Cheryl lifted her mask a little bit when Anthony wasn't looking, and she saw another man walk through the garage door. At this point, she was even more terrified than she already was, knowing that now there's 2 of them and how hard it would be for them to get away. Bud remained calm while Cheryl began to get more anxious and upset. She started pleading with them to let them go, and one of the men just said no. One of the brothers had a gun to Bud's head. The other brother had a knife to Cheryl's throat. The man with the knife said, "Tony, I'll go first."
Oof.
Then he ordered Cheryl to take off her pants. She refused at first, so Anthony stuck the knife even harder against her throat, and Nathaniel cocked the gun back, still holding it up to Bud's head. At this point, she felt like if she didn't pull her pants down, they were going to kill them.
They're going to kill him anyway.
Bud then had to watch as both men raped Cheryl in front of him. When the men were done, they pushed Bud towards Cheryl and said, "Hold her tight, because this is the last time you'll ever hold her again." Cheryl and Bud began crying and told each other they loved each other.
Motherfuckers.
Suddenly, Cheryl heard a gunshot and started screaming. The 2 men immediately ran out of the garage. They only had 1 bullet, so that's why they ran.
Broke-ass bitches that can only afford 1 bullet.
Cheryl didn't feel the bullet go inside of her, but suddenly Bud said, "Oh my God," because the garage floor started flooding with her blood. She was shot. The couple then got up and started going from house to house. One lady even opened her door and then slammed it in their face and told them to go away. Finally, after knocking on 4 doors, a man answered and let them come in. Bud laid Cheryl on the couch and called 911. They were both rushed to the hospital. Cheryl passed out on the way to the hospital in the ambulance because she was losing a massive amount of blood. She was immediately sent to surgery. Bud was absolutely hysterical. So they ended up sedating him. In the hospital, we call this giving someone a 5-250. It's like 3 drugs mixed in one, and it sedates you. It's Benadryl, Ativan, and Haldol.
So you just go to sleep?
Yeah, you just literally go to sleep.
I could use some of that. I don't sleep good.
Cheryl woke up hours later after surgery, and the doctors told her the bullet did severe damage. Her right lung had collapsed. She was hit in the pancreas and the liver, and she suffered massive abdominal bleeding. She spent the next 4 weeks in the ICU, but she was alive. While in the hospital, police came to get a statement from her and Bud. They told police it was 2 black men, one with a beard, one without, and one of the men called the other man Tony. This matched the description from the other survivor, Sandra. At this point, cops knew they were dealing with serial killers, but they didn't know who these men were and had no other leads to find them. 2 weeks later, police found the body of 12-year-old Dawn Backus. She was found in the basement of an abandoned theater. In February of 1981, Dawn was walking home from a friend's house when the brothers abducted her and drove to the theater. This is so sad because she's only 12 years old.
That's crazy. They were doing adults until that point. Now, stealing a child, like abducting a child is worse. But it's all terrible. But we always feel worse for children because they haven't even had a chance to live. And
yeah,
you know, there's a lot of reasons we feel bad. And, or like they stand a lesser chance of fighting back. They're just little and weak.
Yeah, she was only 12 years old. They drove her to the theater. They then took turns raping her and murdered her by hitting her multiple times in the head with a cinder block. On March 27th in 1981, another couple, Scott Moulton and Denise Sitowski, were abducted at gunpoint while sitting in their car. The men forced them into the trunk of their own car and then drove to a remote location. Anthony opened up the trunk and shot them multiple times.
This was just for no reason.
Yeah, until they were both dead.
Now there's nothing except I'm just killing for fun.
A few months later, Stacy Balanek and Daryl Cole's bodies were also discovered in the trunk of their car, but they were not shot. Like previous victims, they were beaten to death. Anthony later said in an interview that he did this strategically to not have a consistent MO.
What a piece of shit.
The cases were piling up, and aside from having a description of 2 men and knowing one of them is named Tony, cops had nothing else. They were under tons of pressure, and the community was freaking out at this point because this is a matter of like 16 months. All these people from the same area are being murdered.
What year did this around what years? I know they were born in 50-something.
No, it started in 1979 to 1981.
Yeah, and they didn't really have good DNA then.
Then, in September of 1981, Nathaniel told Anthony he didn't want to kill anymore. So on September 18th, Anthony went out on his own. He saw a van pull into the Terrace View Apartments. In the van was a couple named Todd Sabo and his girlfriend, Leslie Sawicki. As soon as the couple got out of the van, Anthony approached them with a gun and forced them back into the back of the van. He forced Leslie to undress, and after he did, he grabbed her, attempting to rape her, but she began to fight and claw at Anthony's face.
Good.
Todd was on the wrestling team for the University of Toledo.
Let's go, Todd.
So he immediately jumped on Anthony and wrestled the gun away, and then held him in a hold and screamed for Leslie to run inside and call the cops. She ran in, she called the police, and her father ran out. He also grabbed Anthony, and the 2 men started beating the shit out of him.
Hell yeah, stomp his whole face in.
Sadly, though, he managed to crawl over to where the gun was on the ground, turned, and shot both Todd and Leslie's father, Peter.
The gun.
Peter sadly died instantly, and Todd was shot in the neck, but he did survive. Anthony was able to run away.
Get the fuck out. I thought they were going to pound him to the dirt, and I thought someone had the gun. And
no, he just threw the gun.
Wow.
Several days later, police released the sketch of the brothers again because the description matched the sketches from the other 2 survivors. A police informant then came forward and said That looks like my friend Tony. Police arrested Anthony, and he was identified by Leslie and Todd as the man who attacked them and killed Leslie's father, Peter.
That's crazy because police sketches are always shit from whatever I've seen.
Well, this police informant said it was his friend, and it was.
Nuts.
In March of 1982, Anthony was convicted of the murder of Peter Sawicki and given a life sentence, but there was nothing to link him to the other crimes. And police had no idea who the other man involved in those crimes was. But they know.
So the brother didn't say I was doing it with my brother?
No.
Wow.
But they know there's a second suspect at large. They brought in Anthony's younger brother, Nathaniel, for questioning because they thought it could have been him.
They got to watch him from here on out, but he wanted out, so he might not do it again.
Well, he had no previous run-ins with the law. Remember, he was a good kid. He never sold drugs. He doesn't have any type of record.
I almost feel like that's irrelevant. Like, a lot of times if you get arrested and you have no previous criminal history, you get a way lesser penalty. But I also feel like if you have no previous criminal background, it might have mean you just were good at not getting caught.
Yeah, like you're still a scumbag.
Yeah.
Well, they brought him in for questioning, and he now is clean shaven. And, before he had like a really short beard, like some stubble. Now he's clean shaven. His hair is different. They brought him in, put him in a lineup.
This boy came in with the Cuba Gooding Jr. with the brush back.
Well,
blue contacts on.
Well, neither Sandra nor Cheryl could definitively say that he was the second killer because they didn't recognize him for sure. They said it could have been him, but they weren't sure.
I respect that because you don't want to put an innocent man in jail.
Absolutely. But for the next 15 years, Nathaniel would walk free. In 1997, police decided to use new DNA technology to try and solve some of Toledo's cold cases. Sandra's underwear was preserved in evidence and it had semen stains on it. The samples came back matching both Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. Nathaniel was immediately arrested.
Wow.
And both men were charged with the murder of Tom Gordon and the rape of Sandra. They now want to solve the other cold cases, but they don't have DNA from all of the other crimes. So the prosecutors cut a plea deal with Nathaniel. They told him he would only serve 20 years if he and his brother told them about all the murders they committed. Both the brothers agreed this was a good deal, and they said they would talk.
You can't pull a psych. I will give you 20 years. Psych.
There's no psych. So
we need a psych law.
We do. 100%.
Hashtag vote for us. We tricked you into telling us.
Yeah. Psych. 100%.
And now Bubba's coming into the room and he's getting that ass.
Well, unfortunately, also back then, there was no death penalty. And
I don't care because sometimes suffering in jail is cool if you put him in a bad spot.
They offered him a 20-year plea deal. Anthony admitted to killing 8 people, and Nathaniel admitted to murdering 3 of the 8. Anthony was given another life sentence on top of the one he was already serving. And Nathaniel got 20 years because of his plea deal. In 2018, Nathaniel Cook stood in front of the parole board with many of the victims' family members protesting the parole hearing, begging them to keep him locked up. But on August 18th, 2018, Nathaniel Cook was released from prison.
No way.
He spent a year in a reacclimation program and then moved in with his sister back to the same community he once terrorized. And that is where he is
Homie's
today,
out? Chilling?
in Toledo, Ohio.
Man.
Right now. He's there chilling.
That's crazy. I would go smoke his ass.
That's crazy, right?
Not me, because he didn't do nothing to me. But if he killed my sister, I'd be like, that's cool. You can let him out. I'll just send him to the upper room.
The upper room.
Yup. Well, he gonna go lower room. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's not going to the upper room. That's
he's
for
going
sure.
to hell.
So Yeah, Nathaniel is out, chilling, living in Toledo, the same community he terrorized. And his brother Anthony, he's going to be in jail till he's dead because he's serving 2 life sentences.
They were both terrible. Anthony was the worstest.
Yeah, he seems the worst, obviously, but they're both terrible.
The world is better without either one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
And he might listen to this.
He might. I mean, I'm going to hashtag his name on social media, so maybe he will.
That's crazy. Fuck you, dude.
Hope you're listening, asshole.
Yeah, don't come looking for me. I'll smoke your ass.
You will. And that is the case of the serial killing duo of the Cook brothers. How crazy is that story?
I was thinking, like, when they were trying to, like, draw the composite sketches, they come up with 2 Hanky the Christmas Pooh because they're both pieces of shit. That's what I was thinking if you ever watched South Park.
Yeah.
Because Hanky the Christmas Pooh is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is. Well,
but he's a nice piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a nice piece of shit. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. This case is like not well known. Like nobody covers this. I think like 2 podcasts have covered this. And it's nuts to me that it's not more well known because not only is it crazy that their brother's doing this crazy shit, but that one of them is just out chilling.
I think that
he's 59 years old, I think, or 60-something years old.
He's not even that old.
He's not even that old.
I think that people don't cover, now this is my opinion, but I think that podcasts don't cover people that are out that have committed murder because it's a little riskier.
Well, I guess it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm willing to take the risk.
Sure. Okay, Smealy.
Well, that's our case. And that was for you guys, the patrons who voted for this one.
All right, and that means the next one will probably be one that I don't really want.
Why?
I don't like what is those wrongful convictions.
You don't? What if they're exonerated? It has a happy ending if they're exonerated.
Yeah, but the ending isn't that happy if they've been in there for like 15, 20 years. And then if they get out, you need to give them fucking enough money to like live nicely.
True, but they don't.
Give them a house. They
don't give them shit. A lot of them don't get anything.
20 years worth of prison should be worth a lot of money.
Well, I'm fascinated by wrongful conviction cases. I think because, it's very sad and horrible. I think because we put this faith in our justice system.
I put no faith in the justice system. The justice system is just there, and I have no choice but to be part of society because I can't go nowhere else.
Yes, but before we started doing this podcast and started talking about wrongful conviction cases, you probably, like everyone else, had a little bit more faith than you do now.
Zero.
In the justice system. Well,
Zero.
I did.
I had zero faith. I knew no faith in the justice. I've known people that in Florida, I've gotten assault on an officer because he threw me to the ground and hurt himself. Like,
yeah.
I've known people that have been punched in the face by a cop, and because the cop hurt their hand, they get assault on an officer.
I understand.
So,
but I guess for me, like I had a little bit more faith than I do now in the justice system before listening to wrongful conviction cases because I didn't know how little evidence they actually need to put you away.
That's because you grew up and you had a canopy bed with like the little lace and shit.
All right, I had a canopy bed. It doesn't mean that I was rich.
I just made that up. But I knew if your bed had lace,
I had a canopy bed.
Has butterflies and rainbows for you.
I had a canopy bed, but it doesn't mean I was rich. I grew up in Baltimore.
It's not rich. That just means shit was sweet.
I had 2 hardworking parents, but I still had no idea that cops could lie to you. I had no idea that prosecutors, some of them, not all prosecutors, but some of them, can really do some scumbag shit.
And like,
I didn't know all that.
Yeah. And money makes the world go round. You have money, you get off.
Yeah, it's so true.
The justice system, I wonder, it's good. I guess it's the best we have.
Yeah.
Because as people, we do what's best for ourselves. We have instincts to survive.
But you also have to remember, like, there are good cops. There are good prosecutors. There are good lawyers. There are good judges. There's also some really terrible piece of shit ones of all those. There's bad apples everywhere.
My friend's Reem's mom, his name was Reem. Well, Kareem, we call him Reem. His mom was cool. She's just doing her job. She don't want to arrest you, but if you're doing something wrong, she has to.
Of course.
So that's what it is.
There's a lot of cops like that.
Last case resort should be to arrest someone. And I've been arrested a couple times over dumb shit. And you hear them laughing like, yeah, we arrested you because we wanted overtime today. Like, they'll tell you this shit while you're in the back of the cop car. So, fuck those dudes.
Well, yeah, I get it. I just think that wrongful conviction cases have shown me personally that anybody can go to jail. And that you need to really protect yourself, lawyer up right away, never take a polygraph. And even if it makes you look guilty, lawyer up right away, 100%. And I didn't know all of this until I listened to wrongful conviction and exoneration cases.
Yeah, but in the Bronx, we're huge. Just don't snitch, don't talk to cops, don't even matter nothing. And one of the ways you could keep yourself out of jail is to never get married. No, listen. You rolled your eyes. You almost snapped your neck. I heard a crack. You don't get a chiropractor.
Go ahead. Where are you going with this?
Because God forbid something ever happened to you or me. Mm-hmm. One of us is going to jail.
No, we're just the suspect.
But that's it. That's
you can get ruled out.
It takes a lot to rule you out unless there's DNA from someone else around. Otherwise, you're going to jail now. That's a fact.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, if they don't got no one else, it's you.
All right, everyone. Well, have a wonderful week. Check us out on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod and Facebook at Wife of Crime, the Crime Family. And how
about that dope ass sweater you got on with? Oh Wife of
we
Crime?
Got some merch in the merch store. We are currently developing new merch, so be on the lookout for that because that will be coming out soon.
Yeah, check out the homie Jade from Dead Inside Designs.
Yes.
She creates dope stuff. Buy her stuff, but she's creating stuff for us.
Yeah, she always creates our stuff.
I like her because she does spooky shit, and I like horror films and spooky shit like her.
Yeah, she's got a lot of spooky cool shit. All right, until next time, talk to you later. Bye.
Peace.